Oh my god, that is horrible. I think I just ate paste or something. Oh my god.
I was 20 years old.
For my first video, I am going to be eating various types of baby food.
In 2009 when I started my channel.
And I just wanted to quickly let you guys know that I have published the recipe for my chewy gooey, gluten-free.
In 2015, January, I went viral for the smoothie bowl. This is like before the word influencer existed.
The word influencer absolutely did not exist.
Today, influencing is a multi-billion-dollar market.
Oh my god.
But with that comes lots of creator burnout.
After an author goes on book tour, they go silent. After a movie star goes out, they go silent. They start to like refill their cup. And there's no refilling a cup when you're an influencer.
A small but steady stream of creators have moved on from the influencing life.
I'm literally just here to have a good time, and I don't think I'm having a good time.
Some creators have talked about outgrowing it.
Not trying to close the door shut here, but just introduce you guys to a whole new beginning.
While others are simply focusing on other business ventures.
Back to normal old Emma.
There are very few people who would probably want to stay in the same job that they had at 20 years old.
Like if you go viral for something at 16, at 35 you're expected to still be that like 16-year-old? Would you want to do that?
Thank you. The best decade of my life.
My last video, when I posted it, it just felt like a huge relief. And I could take a break and sleep for 14 hours.
Man, this is a long video, but we're going through pretty much every single Glossier product here, so.
For 11 years, Ingrid Nilsson's day-to-day revolved around documenting her life and broadcasting it to her more than 3 million followers.
So I'm just gonna do an awkward smile and put the blush on my cheekies.
I was posting purely as a creative outlet for fun, to connect with other people, because I felt really isolated at that time. My dad had died a couple years prior. My mom had been really sick throughout my high school years, and I just felt really alone. And so the people that I was meeting on the internet felt like my friends.
Hey guys, this is my favorite hairstyle to wear. Today I'm going to be doing the TMI tag. I am going to be showing you every single thing that I eat today. About to get intimate, guys. Oh yeah.
But putting everything online had negative effects offline.
As I kept vlogging more, I realized that sharing the mundane parts of my life, those are usually moments that we experience in private and connect with our own inner thoughts and just be ourselves. And I didn't even have those moments to myself. They were being shared with other people and judged by other people.
I just feel like I need to have a little breather and get myself together a little bit.
It made me, I think as I got older, want to pull away a little bit, because I wanted to figure out who I was. That's one of the hardest jobs that we are all given here in this life. And I was trying to figure out how to do that on the internet.
There's something that I want you to know. And that something is, I'm gay. It feels so good to say that.
Ingrid went viral in 2015 for her coming out video.
That was really the watershed moment for me personally, where I was like, this is who I am. I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. Being 26 years old and having to navigate the virality of that and the judgment that I received, and then on the other hand, the support that I was receiving was really, really confusing. Around 26, 27, I knew that I didn't want to be making content once I was in my 30s.
I'll see you later. Bye.
I was thinking, should I turn this into content? What am I going to post tomorrow? Should I post about this food? Okay, yeah, I actually want them to take a picture of me. It was always on. Like, I was always thinking, how can I turn my life into content?
I actually don't have any armpit rashes, but I still think it would be cool to do this because I'm a freak. I'm a freak.
Lee Tillman was an early Instagram influencer who racked up followers on her account, Lee from America, posting about her life in Los Angeles.
So a day in the life normally looked like waking up around 6 a.m. and starting to share what I'm drinking before my workout, share photos and videos of myself on the way to the gym or maybe on a hike, and then post-workout picture, and then come home, make breakfast, share that, and then maybe go on stories and do a Q&A, spend a couple hours DMing, make lunch, share that on social media, go back, share a little bit more, make dinner, then maybe do a little bit more DMing and commenting at night, and then go to bed.
So you know what a performance review is, right? Imagine having that every single day in the form of likes, views, shares, comments, DMs. You can never turn off, because if you turn off, your product turns off. And if your product turns off, you're not making any money.
I think living my life publicly affected me because I started to leave my body and start to view myself as what would Lee from America do. And so instead of saying, where do I want to go this summer, I would say, where does Lee from America, where should she go this summer? Where would her followers want her to go this summer? Well, I soon felt like a billboard, which in a way, that's how I made my money. But I started to feel like it wasn't about me anymore. I was like, brands want to access my audience, which is, you know, at the end of the day, that's what it is. There were also so many benefits of the job too. You know, I'm making great money, ballpark like around $300,000, yeah, for 1 year. But then the cost was so great too, and that's when I kind of started to think, what would it be like if I were just normal?
I am going to be taking off some extended time from Instagram.
In 2020, Lee moved back to New York without telling her followers. That same year, Ingrid decided she was ready to quit.
We were all in lockdown. It was a very unremarkable moment. I was in my sweats, walking down the street, and this thought just came to me where I thought to myself, I can stop. I can stop doing this. I was financially stable thanks to this career, and I had the ability to quit and live off of my savings and figure out what I wanted to do next.
Ingrid took about a year to fully detangle herself from all her YouTube business relationships. Meanwhile, Lee started working on a resume and applying to jobs.
Do I put influencer on the top of my resume? I think that there are so many skills that influencers have on the day-to-day. Well, first of all, social media content creation, right? Like video and podcasting and writing captions and taking photos. Being able to kind of adapt a brand voice or create a brand voice, communications, crisis comms. My life now is pretty normal. I wake up in the morning, I make coffee, I walk my dog, and I do some work for other clients.
All right, so welcome to Goodbye Influencing.
Earlier this year, Lee launched a workshop to help other creators looking to make the same transition.
I don't know if anyone's going to sign up. Even if I just get one sign up, it's a success.
She promoted the workshop on her Instagram.
It sold out. Like, I don't care if the criticism is like, you're still an influencer for influencing influencers to leave influencing. I thought about that. I know it's ironic, but I'm just trying to like get the message out, and Instagram is my biggest platform.
These days, Ingrid leads a quieter life, running a candle business.
Working with something that is tactile is absolutely therapeutic coming off of the internet. My co-founder, Erica, and I launched the new Savant in December 2020 with 500 candles, and we sold out in 7 minutes. And so it was very important for me to separate myself from the product. And what I've realized is now people actually care more about the product than they care about what's going on in my life, which is exactly how I want it to be.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. I'm so sorry. I was very adamant about like, I'm not gonna weep. I'm not gonna post a video where I'm crying. Immediately posted a video where I was crying. He lived 14.5 years, which is about as long as you can hope a dog can. And he made millions of people happy. What a run. I've got my little shrine with him. My brother and my future sister-in-law got me this candle. Always remembered, never loved, or forever loved, not never loved. Oh my gosh. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
You probably recognize Jonathan Graziano as the person whose elderly pug's bones or no bones days got you through the pandemic.
Okay, it's a no bones day. It's a day for kindness and self-care. Oh my God, he's got bones. All right, you know what that means. Treat yourself today. Schmooze that judge. Buy those diamonds. I remember filming it and watching it for the very first time from the lens that we see it on the camera, just going, oh, this is hysterical. This dog does not like to do things. And I remember looking at the video and just thinking, the old pug community of TikTok may very well enjoy this. And it turns out it was most everyone. Oh my God, what happened to you? I had 100,000 followers on TikTok on October 3rd. On October 17th, I had 4.5 million followers.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am that his body has become a harbinger of our collective truths.
No bones day, I just stay in bed.
This is a copy of our book. Got us on the background. It's been unbelievable, and Noodle has settled into it quite well.
Sir, this is quite graphic.
But about 1.5 years after the first No Bones Day video, Noodle passed away.
It's not just I've lost Noodle. It's how do I tell these millions of people? I have the most amazing drawings of Noodle from so many kids. It was a massive shift in my day-to-day, in financial forecasting, and all of that.
The pet influencer industry is super lucrative, with one expert telling us that petfluencers with around 100K followers can make thousands of dollars per piece of sponsored content. And if they've got millions of followers, the payout can range from 20 to 50K.
I did always keep my job, and I always knew this dog is going to get older. And again, we fought for immortality in so many ways. I bartered with so many strange people on the subway who promised me that if all I did was buy this little bauble of theirs, Noodle would live forever. And they all lied, all of them. But if mortality was always on the table, you have to remember that.
I'm sorry, is this Noodle or is this Seabiscuit?
But for owners whose income relied solely on their pets, an unexpected death can be devastating in more ways than one.
Contractually, I have to post this video. Since they already paid me and I spent that money on rent, that it has to be posted.
Not only have you lost your fur baby, your basically your child, but you also have taken a big financial hit. So it is extremely difficult.
Lonnie's the founder of The Dog Agency, a talent management company for pet influencers.
Pets do live shorter lives than humans, which is very sad, and kind of thinking about how you want to approach that. If you do want to carry on once your pet passes, and thinking about how best to approach that. Maybe that is bringing in other pets, maybe you're in the content more, or just having a theme that is able to carry through once your pet does pass are great things to keep in mind as you're kind of strategically building this business.
Hello! For Jonathan, that meant pivoting from bones or no bones to helping adoptable dogs find homes.
Oh, you got little goops. Hold on, I got your goops. I just went from like an ancient pug to 2 new ones, but I'm just excited to be busy. Yay, you did so good! You did so good! You did so good! You get a snack! You don't get a snack because you pooped in the crate. There were many times where I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew that I was not going to stop creating content just because of the value it provided for me. Like I got into posting this in general because I was so desperate for community.
It's a No Bones Day. You know what that means. Be kind to yourself today. Get out the jade roller.
I'm still figuring it out, but this seemed like a very natural progression for me. I knew I wanted to keep taking care of dogs. I knew I did not want to adopt another dog, and I knew I could help dogs find homes. So that seemed like the next logical step.
But that next step doesn't mean Noodle's out of the picture.
We're going to war. I'm kidding, we're doing a show. That was the message. We're gonna do a comedy show. I'm thinking we're gonna call it Live Nudes. I had enough people rally around me and just encourage me and let me know that like my job in making people happy and providing value and helping to take care of dogs was not over. I get to go continue to celebrate Noodle for until people will stop listening. So I'll take it as long as I can. Thank you all for the continued support. Long live the king.
When people hear Caroline Calloway, they think crime. It's really strange that when you Google my name as a law-abiding citizen, the people who come up are like Anna Delvey, Billy McFarland, Elizabeth Holmes, literal criminals, like are synonymous with my name. So what, have you ever been canceled?
No. So the last time we spoke,
Flower hair.
We did flower hair.
Those yellow flowers.
I went out to dinner with him after.
You went home and you were like, "Dear diary, I'm never gonna let that interview see the light of day."
I think some of it finally will.
In early 2020, I interviewed Caroline Calloway on the floor of her West Village apartment a few months before her first book, Scammer, was supposed to publish.
Since I'm mic'd up, we should really have like a jinx moment where I just like forget my mic is on and I'm like, scam them all.
Years passed with no book or air date.
I'm messy, but like I do clean up my messes, you know?
And it's been a little messy.
I'm Caroline Calloway. I'm 23 years old and I live mainly in Cambridge, but sometimes in New York.
Caroline's internet fame started off as a fairy tale, an American studying in Cambridge, England, documenting her glamorous adventures via long, novelistic captions on Instagram. Caroline racked up over 800,000 followers, landed a six-figure book deal, and became a star of the early Instagram era. But instead of a dazzling literary debut, there was controversy.
This time last year, I'd already been canceled once.
In late 2019, Caroline's former best friend, Natalie Beach, wrote a tell-all for The Cut. Natalie said she'd ghostwritten some of Caroline's earlier Insta captions and did significant work on her book proposal. Natalie also revealed Caroline had bought her followers early on. Caroline's admitted to buying followers and acknowledges Natalie's involvement, but says Natalie took advantage of their shared history.
I gave Natalie like a market that would eat up intimate details about me because sort of like the Kardashians, like once you've ingested so much information about my life, you're sort of like, for better or for worse, I have you hooked. You know, I just think we're really okay with hating thin, pretty, young girls with a bunch of followers on Instagram because we think their lives are really easy and we kind of want to see them fail. Influencer, scammer. That's a great word. I mean, as I said, I would click on those articles about me. Like, it's such a juicy word. Can we hide? Would you like to hold him?
I'll put him down. Now we are meeting in Sarasota.
Yeah. You know, when I moved here, I threw my passport in the ocean. Yeah, I threw it in the sea because I told myself I wouldn't leave Florida until I'd made 10 books. Look at this little hat. It's gonna be a laptop. And that's all I learned at Cambridge. I don't have any government issued ID.
What is your one?
I can't buy alcohol. I've actually pulled up my Wikipedia page and been like, look, Wikipedia's not lying. I'm 31, okay? Yeah, and that's worked 100% of the time.
Caroline spent the last few years trying to correct the record with what she says is the truth. She finally released Scammer in June, 3 years after its original publish date.
Were you a scammer?
Yes, but I don't think you'll like why I think I am. I think I'm a scammer for lying on my Cambridge application. I think I'm a scammer because I named my first book that, and it's a memoir, so like the word is now a part of me. And I think I'm a scammer because I was a liar in my early 20s, but I guess I just feel a little defensive copping to the term because I just think there are people out there who will like clip me saying like, I'm a scammer, and like they'll just repost that. I just hate how unfairly I'm judged for things that I think a lot of people have done. Yeah, I think I'm pretty famous now. I'm like, did you read last month's Vanity Fair? I feel good about this level of fame for like where I'm at now. I think I'm very good with conjuring fame out of thin fucking air, and I hate when people are like, well, at least like Natalie's article was so good for you. And it's like, no, I handled that the best way it could have been handled. I've created fame before. I've done it since. I could have really done without that betrayal and that public humiliation in my life. I'm still now undoing the harm to my reputation as a writer that she inflicted on me.
Do you think that the maybe like chances that you got to get it right, did you have any privilege at play there?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm white. There's pretty privilege. I just sometimes feel like people who really want to penalize me for existing in a privileged body, I sometimes feel like they're exorcising a kind of anger and hatred that isn't really about dismantling racism, for example. But I also don't think that like hating me does anything productive. We just think of women who want fame and money and power as a little bit evil, and I want all those things, and I think I should be able to claim those desires with as much confidence as a man would.
Do you still want those things?
Yes, I absolutely want fame, money, and power, but I realize now that I actually think I'm doing a disservice to women by talking about that. But a woman who wants to be a famous writer, people almost stop listening after famous. They just hear famous. You're just this attention-seeking, attention whore who just is shallow and wants fame for fame's sake. Like, I want money because I want to be comfortable and I want to be able to make the best art possible. I want power because I want my art to be taken seriously. When I die, I want to be remembered as one of the great American writers. I want people to dress up for Halloween the same way they dress up as Frida Kahlo. Like, I want it to be like flowers and hair, Siamese cat stuffed animal, white dress, blue ribbon.
Would this be here yet if Natalie didn't come out with a book?
No. No.
Oh, I'm not surprised about the timing of Scammer. Caroline has always been extremely good at marketing herself.
Caroline self-published Scammer in June, days before her ex-friend Natalie Beach published her own book, Adult Drama, a collection of essays including an expanded version of her viral 2019 essay about her friendship with Caroline.
First and foremost, everyone's had a terrible friend breakup in their lives, and I think friend breakups can hurt more than romantic breakups. A misreading, perhaps, or just like a way of viewing the world that I take issue with is that Caroline and I are somehow linked, like, cosmically, and when one of us succeeds, the other one will necessarily fall. That's just not how it works. I don't follow Caroline on social media. I don't read what she writes. Our friendship is over. We are not good for each other. I have no regrets about how things went down in 2019. I wrote that essay to the best of my ability, and then I got, the great honor of being read widely, and I get to live in this beautiful house with my partner, my personal life, and like where I am right now. I'm super happy. There's not a single part of me that wants to be famous. It's really good.
Are you happy?
No. I've never been happy, though. Like, my life is the life. It's totally in service of the art.
Do you think that the internet will always be tied to your fame?
Yeah, and I want it to be. I just don't think that a sentence like typed by thumbs into a phone screen is like inherently worth less than that same sentence like printed in a book, whereas I think lots of other people carry that bias. I just love the internet and it's part of my art, but I don't think we really have a lot of writers who have the experience of being internet famous and being a writer. And I want to be one of the first voices in American literature that like really dominates that space.
When will you be ready to move on from writing about that period in your life?
When the Instagram trilogy is finished. I want to reclaim the writing that she took credit for, those Cambridge captions, and I want to create a lasting piece that will always stand as a response, and that's what I Am Caroline Calloway will do.
Then I find myself in the same spot as I did at the end of our 2020 interview.
You'll have to read Scammer to find out.
With Caroline teasing the impending publication of her next book.
What percentage do you believe that those two will be out by December 31st?
100%.
So I have my little noodle diamonds. I will say though, the chances that this is a Horcrux of noodles is at least like 98%. You know what I mean? What are the chances that this is not a cursed object at this point?
I can 100% confirm that there is life after influencing, and it is fantastic.